Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Meditation Minyan. I'm Rabbi Hannah Leslie Glazer of Congregation Adat Re'im, and we're so glad that you're with us today, either live on the Zoom or joining us later for the recording. And we are in the process of counting the Omer, the 7 weeks between the holiday of Passover and Shavuot. And I am going to share my screen. So we've got, we are counting each of the 7 weeks of the Omer through the Sfirot, the spiritual values of holiness that the Kabbalists use to be able to count those 49 days in a spiritual, emotional fashion. And so there are 7 Sfirot that the Kabbalists raised up to go along with the 7 weeks of the Omer. And you can see them there on the screen. We're in week 4 now, which is Netzach. Netzach is initiative, perseverance, and I like to call it just do it. And it's a really interesting thing to be coming after Tiferet. And it's a really beautiful flow from Tiferet into Netzach, and that's what we're going to be meditating on today. And then we have another 3 values to come after that for the next 3 weeks. So it'll be great. I'm going to stop sharing my screen. And we'll begin our meditation. So I'm going to invite you to get comfortable in your seat. You want to allow the seat to hold you and support you. You want to check your posture and make sure you're not slouching forward or leaning back too far. You want to try and get your spine aligned. Hands resting comfortably. You want to feel your feet grounded into the floor. You may wish to turn your hands outward if you want to take in energy, or flip them down, resting onto your lap or on a seat. If you'd prefer to conserve energy. And we just want to do a brief check-in. First, we'll check in on the body. Take a deep breath in, and as you let it out, just scan to see if there's any tension and allow the tension to flow out with your out breath. And then do another breath just like that. Scan, and then with the out breath, allow the tension to flow out of the body. And relax. So Netzach is a really beautiful quality of holiness. And if we're following the flowering and blossoming and growth of a tree in the spring, Netzach is the energy that makes the leaves grow out of the otherwise dead branches. Netzach is the energy that helps the leaves grow forth. If we're thinking of it in terms of human relationships, it's kind of a similar process. We start with unconditional love. That unconditional love gets directed and channeled through boundaries, through a container, right? Just like the energy of the tree gets channeled through the roots, the trunk of the tree, and then up through the branches. That's the only way the leaves can grow, is if the energy is channeled in the right direction. Tiferet, of course, is the balancing of love and boundaries. Making sure the tree, for example, has enough energy to serve all the rest of the parts of the tree before it goes into the branches. And in human relationships, same idea. Before we start extending ourselves further out to others, we also want to make sure that our own cup is full enough. And Tiferet is the ebb and flow of that balance. It is the consideration of action before we actually act on it. So that we can get to a balanced place before we act. And Netzach is the action that follows that process. And I love that it's also called perseverance, because I think it's part of the human condition that when we see something that needs address, we want to fix it right away. We don't necessarily want to wait and consider a balanced approach and take extra opinions and consider and think about things. Sometimes it can feel very tempting to just go and do it. But Netzach is, and it can be easy to think about maybe not persevering and not going forward. Netzach is very important for community organizing as well. It is the patience to know how much to gather, to collect in the way of balance and consideration of others, consideration of self, consideration of a highest good before going into action. But Netzach for sure is the action. It is the push forward that moves things in the right direction. So you may wish to think about something that is ready for action now. Not everything is, but there may be things that are ready for action now. Just like the leaves when it is their turn to burst forward out into the sun. So we've got another 8.5 minutes to explore Netzach. I'm going to put myself on mute now and enjoy your meditation time, friends. We'll be back with you shortly. Slowly, you want to start coming back to the room. Deepen your breath. Open your eyes when you are ready. And welcome back. I hope that this energy of Netzach is useful for you in whatever ways it needs to be. That we find some way to take advantage of it. Maybe it's getting outside into the beautiful spring weather or whatever you feel called or inspired to do with that energy. I hope it's a blessing to you and to all of us. Thanks again for joining us for Meditation Minyan. And we'll see you next week. Have a great week.